Now, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi will face a barrage of questions from members of parliament when he returns to the parliamentary hearings into allegations of corruption within the criminal justice system. The KZN Police Commissioner has already opened a can of worms by implicating several high-profile individuals, including the suspended police minister, Senzo Mchunu. During yesterday's proceedings, which concluded just before midnight, Mkhwanazi made specific references to rogue crime intelligence officials. Zoleka Qodashe was there and joins us live now from Parliament. So much disclosed yesterday. Perhaps the question mark would be if we're expecting more of the same. Zoleka, I don't know if you got your full 8 hours of sleep, but it's been a long day.
Certainly it was, Arabile, and I don't think anyone did. I can't even call them marathon proceedings because certainly the Comrades Marathon also doesn't compare to the sitting of the ad hoc committee yesterday. We began at 9 o'clock, concluded just before midnight, with parliamentarians and lawmakers essentially trying to sort out procedural matters, but also going into the nub of the issues that were presented by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the top cop in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And so, as you correctly mentioned, he mentioned some details around crime intelligence. I just want to put this into context. Crime intelligence is a unit within the SAPS that is tasked with ensuring that they combat intelligence as well as analyze and combat a crime. And so that unit within the SAPS, he has alluded to it being infiltrated as well by criminal syndicates. He mentions that while there are elements of good elements within the crime intelligence structure, there are also rogue elements, and those are also used to sort of combat people like Dumisani Khumalo, who's the head of crime intelligence. And so those are some of the submissions that came out, but also what we expect to take center stage before proceedings at 9 a.m. today is in relation to DAMP Diane Collar-Barnard and her recusal before the ad hoc committee. You'll remember that she's an alternative member of the DA that is sitting in the ad hoc committee, but parliamentarians are not pleased with her attendance, particularly because of how Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has implicated her in the dissemination of sensitive state information that she allegedly disseminated, particularly to certain newsrooms or journalists, rather. And so this is in relation to the report of the Inspector General of Intelligence in relation to the properties that were purchased by some persons within the crime intelligence. Let's just listen to what Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi said yesterday in relation to this.
The crime intelligence have been leasing buildings as safe houses. They've been leasing properties. And some of these properties, Honorable Chair and members, and I'm not inviting you to go deeper to finding out because it's not within your space, it's within the Joint Standing Committee. But you will be shocked of some of these properties that we've been leasing as a South African Police Service, crime intelligence. Who do they belong to, number one? And whether they are used for what they are leased for. In government in general, the lease of a facility, it's a public works responsibility. But crime intelligence has been leasing buildings from as far back as I could remember. And there's never been issues about that. The matter of fact, Honorable Chair and members, some of the members within crime intelligence have benefited from the leasing of their own facilities to crime intelligence. The same members that are feeding the members of Parliament as if the purchase of this property is irregular.
Now, what Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is essentially saying is that this is used particularly to ensure that they anchor their power in relation to executive authority. What he also did after that is thrust us in the middle of the 5th of March 2025. You'll remember that that's when Senzo Mchunu, together with the top cop in KZN, as well as other parliamentarians, sat to discuss what Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi raised as a red flag in relation to the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team. Now, he's convinced that this letter for the disbandment of the PKTT was not, in fact, the directive of Nhlanhla, or of Senzo Mchunu rather, who's since been placed on leave of absence, and instead was done by a third party. Now, Senzo Mchunu, during that meeting in March this year, was also asked about Brown Mokgotsi, the Northwest businessman, who he then denied. Let's just take a listen to those submissions that he made before Parliament earlier this year.
2 weeks ago, it does happen in a week or 2 or 3. I think a week and a half ago, I got somebody insisting that there's somebody who's going around saying he works with me wherever I am, he is there. And I said, show me the face. And it got to a point where he showed me the face, and I told him, I don't know this person. And a week before, there was another person, Mkhunu, who said is my younger brother. My younger brother died in 2005, and I don't have any other. And so when the person says so, you really, so I think we must be very circumspect when people come to us and say, I must be an associate of this and that. I'm no associate to the person that General Mkhwanazi is referring to.
Now, what Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is essentially saying before the ad hoc committee is that essentially Senzo Mchunu has suffered the same fate that was befalled upon by Nathi Mthethwa, now the late Nathi Mthethwa. He says that he essentially did not sign that letter, and that the rogue elements within crime intelligence that are working together with criminal syndicates are trying to ensure that they still have executive authority. Let's listen rather to what he said about the late Nathi Mthethwa.
We are sitting today, the country is in mourning because we lost one of our ambassadors in France. But then ambassador was a minister of police. As you switch on the television and you watch the homestead of the former minister of police, you're going to see a very big wall, perimeter wall, that was built by the money from crime intelligence. But nobody was held accountable for such, and reports are there. So, 2011, we're experiencing all these things. It's members from crime intelligence that takes the money out of crime intelligence to use them to take control of the executive authority. The minister never asked for the wall. The members from crime intelligence took the money, secret fund account, to make that wall, so they can get control of the minister. So tomorrow they can then loot that money on their own. Then the minister can't say anything.